Language is a power tool for development, be it education, society, politics, or development. This brings us to our topic for this week, language as a tool for development, and I have in the studios with me two English teachers that are going to focus on the conversation. I have Mr. Jerick Lawson, I hope I'm mentioning the name right,
Yeah, that's my
and
name.
Mr. Kujo Donu, I
Yeah.
hope I'm mentioning the name right.
Hello.
Welcome you guys for today's episode of the KEYPOINT TV show.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I hope you are in good health.
I'm good health. I'm very honored to be part of the program.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here too. So
Thank you very much for honoring the invitation and also making time for us because, I mean, television is a platform where we try to educate people, we equally learn from the people and also inform people. So we are going to focus on the English language since you guys are English language teachers. So first of all, let's look at the importance of language itself. Someone might feel like, well, I speak my native language, so which other language do I have to learn? So what is the importance of language? I will start with you.
Thank you so much for the question. First of all, I think this is a very important question to know the importance of English. English is a first language spoken all across the world, and I think it's very important that we should learn the language. We should know how to speak it in order to make more. Have a relation with people all across the world. First of all, when I take the field of education, I think nowadays, if you want to further your studies across the world, it's very important to know how to speak English. Most of the books that we have are written in English. So if you want to get access to knowledge, I think you need to know how to speak the language. That's the field of education. But those who want to make business as well, I think if you want to make more money, then you have to know how to speak English.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let my colleagues continue with the rest of the important.
Okay. So, Mr. Donu.
Okay, so I'll start first with the importance of language itself. Language is very, very important because, language helps us to communicate our thoughts, our desires to other people. And at the same time, they communicate their desires and their feelings to us. So that's the main point of language. Now, when we go to English, as he said, it's very, very important today because, we can say our globally, if you want to rank, I don't want to rank, but if you want to rank internationally, English is at the first place. The international business English, everybody use it in, every activity. So very, very important. So if you want to do business, if you want to go to school, sometimes you have some scholarship, you want to go, you want to apply for it, you have to get a note to how to speak English. It's very, very important. So I can say language is very, very important for everything. Thank you.
So, just to expand more on that, when we talk about language, there was this issue or debate actually earlier about, let me say, someone who speaks Ewe or Kabi and the rest. Some people have categorized that as dialect, and other people are saying they are not languages, and others are saying they are languages. Could we consider the local utterances that we make in terms of communication, should we consider that as language? For example, the Ewe, the Kabie, the Gan, the Chui, the Lingala, and the rest, are they also termed as languages?
I mean, using dialect, when you go to the dictionary, we can consider them as a dialect. But I think we have to value our language. So away, for example, I speak Mina.
Okay.
I think Mina is a language that I have to value. So I have to consider it as a language. And I want people to know my language. I want people to speak my language as well. So I think that's my personal opinion.
Okay,
So,
yeah. Actually, in my opinion, so when we take Ewe, for example, Ewe is our local language. Now, in Ewe, we have a lot of dialects. So when you go to Parliament, for example, they speak Ewe, but differently. When you go to Kebe, they speak Ewe differently. So this is a kind of dialect. Maybe when you go to Kotokoli, they have kind of stuff to speak.
variations also
Okay,
in their language.
so as he said, we have to value our local languages. It's very, very important. But before feeding the family, you have to learn other languages too.
It's quite
Okay.
important.
He is an English teacher. I'm an English teacher too. So I have to learn English to teach students, to earn money, to take care of the family. So I think, we have to value.
It brings us to another importance also
Yeah,
of the language,
the language.
being able to use it as a means of survival or
Yep.
to get work to do and all that.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now we are in a francophone country.
Yeah.
Togo recently joined the Commonwealth. I mean, that is besides the topic per se, but what someone is interested in learning English language, but I feel they do some mistakes. Either they tell you, I myself, when I came to work in a French country, I hear people say, I want to learn English language. They want to do this, they want to do that. Actually, the studio floor manager at the moment also asked me about it, and I told her, I come and read news bulletins every day. At least pick one or two words from it, ask me the meaning. If we can converse in it, I think it's a way of learning. So what are some of the mistakes that people who want to learn English language do, and how can we avoid them? I will start with Mr. Dun.
Okay, so firstly, I can say the first mistake is the shyness. People are shy. Okay, they are afraid. I don't know why, but a lot of people, they are afraid to, to speak the language. But, if you want to do something, go straight and do it. Then, okay, you're done and all. And the second mistake maybe is, some people, they lack practice. Okay, so when you start learning a language, for example, some people, they come to say, okay, I want to learn English. Okay, you say, okay, we're going to have 3-month training. So after the 3 months, they think they are done. No, you're not done. Even professors at the university, they still learn. Okay, they still learn, so language is about practice. When you don't practice, you lose everything. So when you practice, you improve. There is no perfection, but you improve, okay, and you get more from day to day, okay?
Thank you so much. I think this is my one of my my field where when I have to teach people, for example, I make sure that I work a little bit on the psychology, because I mean a lot of people, they want to learn, but at the same time they have a problem in their mind, and you just mentioned that people have to be free in their mind if they want to learn the language and they want to speak the language though. So how are you going to be free? I have 3 points that I think are very important. The first point is do not be afraid of making mistakes, because the moment you begin to be afraid of making mistakes, then I think you cannot even open your mouth and speak. So it's very important to cast out the fear of making mistakes. And then the second point, people are ashamed of pronouncing English words. I don't know why. You're just learning. I mean, you're just learning, and basically you just have to speak the word. If it is wrong, somebody's going to correct you. So I think people should get rid of those stuffs in order to, express themselves. I think I met a couple of guys recently during my teaching program, and they underestimate themselves. I don't know whether you guys have encountered them. They'll be like, I'm learning English. Like, you don't have to tell people you're learning English. You just need to express yourself. Express yourselves. And I think that's the best way to, feel comfortable and confident when you're speaking. So I think that is one of the things that people make that I think it should be corrected, which is thinking in French and translating back into English.
I think that's the basics everybody has to do, because, your first language, apart from your local language, is either French or English for most people. So if I'm more predominant in French, definitely my thinking will be more in French than in English.
Exactly.
But I think correcting the shyness, that block in the mind about I'll make mistakes, people will laugh at me and all that is probably where you need to, deal with such a situation so we can speak. Now, there's this other thing. Those who mock those who try to speak the language, how do we deal with those people? Because we are trying to look at how to avoid some of those mistakes when you are trying to learn a language, in this case, English language. So how do we deal with people who mock those who are trying to learn the language by speaking and all that? Because if I try one or two, people start laughing at me and all that, their confidence level may disappear.
Truly.
So,
okay,
go
ahead.
So if people are mocking at you, don't mind them.
It's
Don't
not
mind.
quite easy as you
The point is,
you can speak.
You cannot stop them mocking at you. You cannot stop them. So they will continue, okay? So you don't look at them. And this example is when we are attending school, maybe secondary school, we have friends, classmates. The one who was the, the stomach boy who mock at everybody, he used to make a lot of, funny stories and all in English badly.
Okay.
Badly, wrongly, and people laugh at him. But today, he speaks very well English.
Okay.
You understand? So some people, maybe from some funny stories, they can learn. So it is very important. So don't mind people mocking at you. Just You know,
I think you want to add
Yeah,
something.
what if you don't have funny story? That's what the problem is.
I mean, that is someone's
exactly.
escape route,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
But I think I was a victim of that when I was in secondary school, where I mean high school rather. I think people, okay, some people they like me when I speak, but others, I don't know, they laugh at me. But I think the right attitude that you need to have in front of those people is to be confident.
Okay.
You have to know what you want. You have to know what you want. And if you set your goal, no matter what people say, no matter what people do, you gotta continue fighting for that purpose. So I was in that contest, but my secret was I didn't mind people. Like I got focused. I know what I wanted. I wanted to be good at English. I want to speak English very well. So I was rather focused on learning deeply and very seriously.
I
Just
mean, you could put them to shame. Yes.
Definitely.
you could put them to shame.
Yep.
You give an example about the friend who or the colleague at school who was making funny statement or stories out of English, and he's speaking English correctly now. So, what are some of the careers that you could become of you when you study a particular language?
First, you can become a TV host like you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, or English teacher.
Like,
Tran-
I mean,
yeah, English teacher like Mr. Jarek Lawson, and also maybe or I don't know, translator.
Okay.
Okay, or you can become a librarian too.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know. What English is very very important that we cannot say this job or this job because some people they are skilled.
Okay.
Okay, they speak French very well. They are skilled in maybe different, domain and all, but because they don't speak English, okay, they lose a lot of opportunities,
Okay.
you understand? So speaking English is very, very important for every job, okay? So when you add your skills, what you know, what you can do, and you add that to English, everything will be well. Okay, and so, this example is about maybe drivers.
Okay.
Sometimes the U.S. embassy they look for drivers. They are paid very well. You don't understand. But if you don't know how to speak English, they're not gonna take you because you have to drive. People who speak English. So how are you gonna communicate?
Okay.
That's the problem.
I think it brings us back to a little bit the starting question about the importance of the
English.
English language. So,
Yeah.
what's some other careers?
Yes, I think he set it up, but some of the things that he didn't say, I think I'll add it to that.
That's what we are here for, to inform
yes,
people. Actually.
yes. If you want to be an artist, for example, then I think the language is very important. If you want to be a diplomat, you have to know how to speak English.
Exactly.
If you want to be an ambassador,
Yeah.
you have to know how to speak
Those are
English.
the higher position,
even president.
Why not?
Yes. Yeah, I know. I think I don't know if the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Togo, I learned he speaks very good
Yeah,
English.
Robert.
Okay.
Professor
Doucet.
Robert Doucet.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I went for a Pan-African conference, I think at Dufferville, and he spoke there.
Yeah.
And I think it's good. It's an
Yes,
encouragement
yeah.
actually to other
Even
people.
His Excellency, our president.
Speaks. Or I've not heard him speak English.
Oh, he speaks
actually.
very well.
I've not-
Okay.
Never.
It's a
Thank-
plus.
That's
It's a plus.
for the information, though.
He speaks
It's
very
a
well.
plus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now we'll go for a quick break, but before then, what is the when we talk about language, we spoke about the importance, the careers, the mistakes we avoid, and all that. So, how can language be used as a tool for development? We spoke about businesses, communications. Now, as a tool that can be used for development.
Yeah.
So I'll start with you.
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
As a tool for development, I mean, first of all, we have to know what is development,
Okay.
and then you have to know
In
what is
terms
it.
of development, we can look at political or social or any other.
Yeah, and also to know what is a tool.
Okay.
So I think language, the English nowadays is a tool. I mean, all across the world. Since we say from the very beginning that is the first language spoken all across the world, I think we can use it to get access to knowledge, to enhance education. I don't know whether you guys are aware of it. At the university, there's a decree which say if you want to do your long paper, you have to do it in English. Every student who wants to do the master's degree, they have to do it in English though. So I think this is something. This is something. And I think nowadays we cannot avoid English.
This language.
Is for me a weapon to enhance development, to have a sustainable development. I think everybody needs to to know how to speak that language though. And then I think I heard also the information that English now has to be taught from the primary school.
Yeah.
And I think this because the government is aware of the fact that the language is very important, and it's a tool that we can use for development. And as we talk about development, we talk about education, we talk about health, we talk about economy, politics, and all that kind of stuff. So I think this is
So language is a big bucket that
Yeah.
you can pick a lot of things that
Okay.
can be good for development. So any submissions on that?
Yeah, so when you talk about language, so I'm just gonna put apart English. So I take a language, language is a kind of unity. I don't know if you remember the story in the Bible. They say that the Tower of Babel.
Babel, yeah,
Babel.
yeah.
Do you remember? So they all speak only one language. So they have a plan or they have a vision. Is to, I don't know, build this tower, okay, till the sky
light
or
can
till
reach,
heaven,
yeah.
something like that. So when God remarked, what did he do? He said, let's put confusion. So when they were confused, what happened? If I talk to you, they understand me, so I push you there. So you see that all their plans, all their projects, because of that confusion, will collapse. Okay, no plans anymore. So when you speak a language all together, you have the same vision.
Okay.
You have the same project. You have the same goals, and then you go forward. You see, so that is the key of development. So when you are together, the language put all of you together. Then you go forward. You go to your goals and everything. So I think when we are in a country, all of us, we are united, okay, on the same language and all, development is, social, economical, everything will be very great.
Okay. So viewers, we are talking about language as a tool for development. You can follow the KeyPoint TV show every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. Now we will be going for a quick break. When we come back, we're still live on the KeyPoint. So welcome back, viewers. I'm here in the studios with Mr. Jerick Lawson and Mr. Kujo Donu. We are talking about language as a tool for development. We did a few wraps up on the importance of language, some careers, some mistakes to avoid, and also we will be dealing now into something that they are more vested into, their field of work, that talks about teaching language as their English language teachers. So the first question I want to ask, because some of people ask me off screen, they want to practice English language. Sometimes they don't know where to start from and all that. But before then, they've heard a lot of stories about some tests or whatever they have to do, the TOEFL and the SAT. So within your sessions or your tutorials and stuff, how are you able to prepare some of your pupils or students for TOEFL? I think I will start with you.
okay. I think
Or any other, English
yeah.
test. not
I
just TOEFL.
train people in TOEFL and in IELTS. When I went back to Accra, it was a couple of years ago. I trained people in TOEFL there and in IELTS. So I was even trained by one of the biggest company in Accra there.
Okay.
And I think TOEFL and IELTS both international tests. If you want to take it, you need to have a level called intermediate level.
Okay.
If you don't have the intermediate level, you'll frustrate yourself. So it's very capital, it's very important to have at least the level, at least the intermediate level before you can just go for TOEFL or IELTS. Now, once you have that level, the intermediate level, then you have to be, focused on the strategies and the techniques. These are the tests that you don't just go and take. I was speaking, I think it was last year, I was speaking with an American, and she told me she passed, she took the TOEFL test and she failed.
Someone will be surprised an American, speaks English.
And she has her master's degree
Oh.
Yeah.
in finances, I think so. And she told me, I failed the TOEFL.
Yeah.
So then I understood that it's not just know how to speak the language, but it's about knowing the strategies and the techniques that you have to apply for the test TOEFL.
I think you'll be giving us 2 examples later on that. So
Pleasure.
let me come to you, Mr. Dom.
Okay, yeah. I have been training people for the TOEFL exam, is a tough exam. is very, very difficult. Let's say it, let's speak our mind. The truth is, it's very difficult because it actually is a kind of academic test, okay? So university. So for example, if you want to apply for maybe a scholarship at the university, so they require a certain kind of score, okay, and all, okay. Maybe she fell because maybe her score, is under what was expected to be scored. So it's a very tough, or and rough exam. Now we have some strategies,
We could start with you. Give us
Yeah.
one or two.
This one is written a lot. Academic papers, a lot, long papers, you have to read a lot. You have to practice a lot. This one is about practicing every time. So you have these 4 skills, these 4 parts: the reading, the listening, the speaking, and the writing. Okay? And so when we take the writing, there, as he said, you have to be intermediate. And what you're going to write to be intermediate to, it's like, the English that you write simply, like you're writing a letter to someone, okay? You have to use the speech markers and everything that is useful, okay, that will make your work, a little bit professional and all. Now, when we take the listening, that part is a little bit tricky, listening, because you're going to listen to native speakers.
Yeah,
And
you
maybe
may not
that
be
is-
accustomed to,
Yeah.
to some of them.
That is the mistake maybe our teachers have been doing. I don't know.
You're
Because
a teacher now, so
Yeah.
don't make yourself culpable.
the thing is, like, our English is not our language, okay? Even if we go to Ghana, English is not the local
Yeah.
language, So why don't our teachers from native speakers listening audios?
Well, I think we spoke earlier about valuing
Yeah.
our language. So it is true that
Yeah.
it could be helpful, but at the same time, even in Africa, when you go to South Africa or Kenya, the language, there's the different accents.
Yeah.
So imagine everyone is trying to speak the American version of English or the British version of English. It will be complicated because even within the sources of the English language itself, there's difference.
Yep.
You understand?
Okay.
The British speak differently from
Yeah.
Americans.
Yeah.
And I learned some time ago that even when you're an American and you go to Britain, you still have to study English.
English.
And I was a bit surprised because to me, English is English. You understand?
I think it's because of-
I was talking about the listening part, not the speaking, because before you communicate with other people, you have to understand what the
Listen, sure.
person is saying to you. So if I don't get you, I cannot answer you. So we won't have a communication. Okay. So
yeah.
that's why I'm saying the listening is very, very important. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanna answer your question. Why you're surprised to know that Americans do go to the Great Britain, and it's because they use expressions that they're not accustomed to. I remember I learned from a very foundation when I began to learn how to speak English that if you want to speak an American English, first of all, you have to make sure that you learn the American expressions, which means you cannot speak the American English using British expressions.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense.
I think sometimes to be honest,
Yes.
Yeah.
we don't always know which one is which one is that. Maybe we may understand that there's S used in Britain or there's Z used in America. That is just it. But some expressions, we are more focused on the understanding of the.
Yeah, and
of
that's
the
that,
missing.
and that's the mistake. I mean, we have to, learn the proper way in order to
I
different
mean, for academic purposes or just conversational as well.
conversational and academically purposely. I think this
Yeah.
one's all included though.
Yeah.
So I think we have to learn the proper way in order to differentiate the American expression from the British expressions. So real quick to go to the strategies that we can give, that I can give to someone when it comes to the TOEFL test is that you have to listen a lot. Listening is very important. And I have some audios and videos that even if you go to the YouTube, I think we have a lot of videos that you can just pick there and practice your listening. So when you start listening, it's obvious that you don't understand, and then you get tired, and then you get discouraged, and you just leave it. But if you leave it, then you're not helping yourself.
Okay.
Because I always believe that a winner is not a quitter, and a quitter is not a winner. So you have to, you have to get the breakthrough. You have to, keep on listening, and we have Americans how they change the tune to some of the little things you have to learn in order to understand them when they speak. So that's the listening.
That's actually a tough thing to do because I believe in the Americas, they are, maybe New York speaks English a little bit differently than maybe somebody in maybe California
Or the
or
dialects.
whatever. It's quite a tough job, but I think we still have
Yeah,
to
but with the
improve.
TOEFL test, we have the North because the Northern American accent, you know, that's
The common one.
yeah, the standardized American accent.
Okay.
And I think when you're accustomed to that, it's easier to understand them when they talk. I mean, it's not a big deal. For me, TOEFL is not difficult. I don't know why people think it's tougher.
I mean, if you've mastered it, I mean, you are teaching
Yeah.
people and all that, so it's quite easy for you, but
Yeah.
it's not the same for other people.
Yeah, another secret as well that I want to give for those who want to take the TOEFL test is the vocabulary, TOEFL vocabulary list.
Okay.
So the TOEFL vocabulary list is very important. You have to master them because most of the time, whether you're dealing with reading, listening, speaking, or writing, those expressions will always pop up. So basically, it's also important to master the TOEFL vocabulary list when you're taking a TOEFL test, though.
Okay, so I think I'm very enlightened on this issue because I felt like it's just about speaking the language, understanding me and all that. So I think you guys would have to teach me or have to come for some training so that you help me. So talking about training, if I come to your place, for example, what are some of the resources or services you can offer me that can make me better my language skills? What are some of the services?
Okay, but I wanted to say something before.
Okay, go ahead.
For the TOEFL, you know, there is a platform. I don't know if you know it. E2 TOEFL Prepare.
I do
Yeah.
know about that.
Okay, so when you go to Google, you try to Google it. So E2 TOEFL Prepare. Then you register. So they will be sending you.
Is the registration free?
Yeah,
Have
it's
you
free.
also one
Yeah,
also?
it's free on E2
Okay.
TOEFL Prepare. So they'll be sending you exercises. So you'll be training yourself, reading, listening, speaking, and all.
Alright.
So it is very good platform. Now
So-
for the resources.
It's very important.
Yeah,
I'm
it's very-
much more interested now.
Okay, so if you want to learn English, it's very simple. Here, for example, I do more practice like speaking more than writing.
Okay.
Because most of the students I take, you know, they have attended school. Maybe they have. Okay, so
BAs and
yeah,
Ds.
something like that. So when they come, they feel like they cannot speak English. Okay, but they have a lot of things inside them, but they don't know. So I just put them in different situations. So we put people in different situations. So what would be your reaction? What would be your conversation with someone when you meet him at the airport?
Okay, that's very practical.
So when you go to the bank, so what would be your conversation with maybe, I don't know, the banker, the teller, or what are you going to say? So we put people in different situations. But if you're not good, you don't have those words, we'll give you these words, okay? And after we have conversation on that, okay? So your work is just to use those words, okay, to speak, okay? And when we're doing that, we try at the same time to correct the grammar because grammar is very important, okay? It's very important. So we correct the grammar and we do all those stuffs, okay? Now, after that, we put it in our WhatsApp group where, you know, we have, you know, every Saturday we try to have debates, we speak, you know, everybody has the floor to speak his mind on something. And when there is a correction, we try to correct you and all. So that's it.
To give that friendly environment for people to express themselves. I mean, we spoke earlier about when you break the pot, we either patch it or we find a new way to replace it on a new one. So, Mr. Jerick, what are some of the services you offer me as a person who wants to expand myself in the language skills?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for this question because it's a question that allows me to talk about what I do, about my business and everything. So, I'm a guy that focus much more on a speaking aspect of the language because I've been trained for that.
Okay.
You know, you can't just do it because you want to do it. I think it's very important to be trained. And then what I do, I ask questions. You know, it's very interesting. I ask questions and I expect you to respond to the questions. And if you cannot respond to the questions, I help you some basic vocabulary. When I do this session with you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, you speak English.
Wow,
No doubt about it.
Miracle thing.
No doubt about it. And then one of the things that I want to add as well is that, you know, we have some applications that people have to use in order to learn faster. Duolingo, for example, is one of the
popular ones.
Exactly, that I recommend to people. But you have other applications. In case people or viewers are interested, they can call me and come to me. I'll appreciate.
Exactly.
I'll appreciate.
We'll
So
have the numbers of the TV program on the crawler on the screen. So hopefully they would contact, and then we'll revert back to you. Because we spoke earlier about language is being used in business. I think this is a practical way
Amen.
to put that across.
Okay, I want to add something.
You want to add something? Okay.
Yeah, and also one I was saying that we put people in different situations and all. For example, last time that vacation, I have some student. Do you know what I do?
No.
Like I say, okay, both of you, you are home. Okay, you wake up in the morning. Okay, try to speak to your brother. Okay, about what you're gonna eat. Okay, during the whole day. Okay, what you're gonna do and all. But I did not give them words.
Okay.
I sent them to make their own researches because the student himself or themselves, they do researches.
Yeah.
It's
I
stay.
believe in that base approach, actually.
Okay.
It's practical.
Yeah, it's practical. So when you yourself, you do your researches, the information you got stays.
Stays,
Okay, so that's very, very important too.
One, I think if I can add, I'm not an English teacher. But one of the other systems I also use in teaching is that, for example, as in this studio, if somebody is doing an internship with me who doesn't speak English quite well, we could come to the studio. I will ask you to list everything you can see in the studio.
Yeah.
The option is in two. You can list them in French, we'll look at it in English, or you try to write them in English yourself.
Yeah.
So if there are corrections, we do. Then when we come to the studio, I ask you, what does this do? You tell me what it does, speaking English.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the systems I
Which is
also
good, actually.
use.
Which is
Also
good.
use.
Yeah.
But I wanted
So,
to add
okay.
something. I want to add something to what we do. We do games.
Okay.
Because for me, it's one of the funniest way to, teach something. We teach by having fun.
Okay.
So we have games, and and especially for the beginners, I designated one of the games called Spell and Pay.
Okay.
My intention doing this is to teach them vocabulary
Okay.
and pronunciation at the same time. Wow. You're gonna like it, man.
I think I need to do a follow-up and visit
Yes.
you guys. So
Okay.
lastly, what would you tell someone who wants to learn language or expand themselves in language? I mean, it could be English or any other language, and also wants to make a career out of language. What advice would you give such a person?
The first thing that I'm gonna tell, I'm gonna repeat myself a little.
I mean, speak to the camera for us, please,
Thank
to our
you.
viewers.
Okay, great. I think that, real quick, it's very important to have a coach. When you don't know something and you want to learn, you need to have a coach. Somebody who knows better. When you have a good coach, you're going to have a good result. But guess what? If you have a bad coach, you're going to have a bad result. So one of the best advice that I will tell someone who is willing to learn how to speak English is to look for a coach. Somebody who can really help you to learn better and to succeed the language. Thank you.
So, Mr. Donu, your last words, still on the same topic?
Okay, so if you want to learn a language, it's very important to invest. So when I say investment, it's like you have to invest your time.
Okay.
Time is very, very important because you want to learn a language. So you have to learn how to invest money too. So you can buy a dictionary or you can look for a good coach. Now, you have a good coach. The coach will be helping you. But one situation will come, you will be in front of the situation yourself, like you alone. So meaning that you have the coach. When you go home, you have to practice. You have to practice every time. You have to practice. You have to listen. You have to do a lot of work on yourself. Don't come to the coach and when you finish the course, you go home, then you sleep. No, you have to continue learning. So by practicing, as I say, practice makes perfect. So you will improve and you will know better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jerick Lawson and Kujo Donu, for honoring this invitation, talking about language as a tool for development. Okay. Now, language plays a multifaceted role, whether in society, personal development, politics, and all. So thank you, viewers, for staying with us on this episode for this week on The Key Point. You can follow us on YouTube, The Key Point playlist on New World TV, and also on Facebook, The Key Point with double I. You can equally watch us every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10:30 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. Catch a repeat same time on Sundays. Is bye-bye. See you next week.